SSG's attacks have been shown to be completely broken, and against BDS they were easily exposed, and then later they tried a different tactic against W7M, kind of changed their ideology, and it proved to be even further flawed than what they were attempting to do the first game. So today, as a fortunate SSG stan, I'm going to break down exactly what happened, why they're playing bad, and why SSG's international drought, which we all hoped would end, it's been about 2 years since they've done much, is gonna continue for at least a little bit longer. So the first round I have to show you is round 8. This is after a 4-2 defensive split against BDS. They were playing very solidly on the defense. Maybe this is a slightly defender favored map with the Hitball and Abandon Cafe, but I would say overall it's even because the Mira and Osmir are also banned out. But regardless, it's sitting at about 51% defender win rate, and it shouldn't be impossible to attack, especially considering BDS do a curious strategy, which if you ever see in your ranked strats, it's very ranked games. It's very easy to expose. So what BDS decided to do was they decided to reinforce the freezer wall as well as put bandit batteries on that. So this player inside a VIP cannot get an angle onto the freezer hatch drop. Most teams put head holes here, so he can, but BDS elects not to. And Monty at 42 seconds can just drop in for absolute free. But here's where things start to fall apart curiously for SSG because no one decides to drop with the Monty player. He is sight for free, but he can't just plant because he doesn't have any cover. Sledge can't drop to cover him because Sledge needs to be vert, and neither Bosco nor Yeti are able anywhere near him. And I don't know how SSG is not able to call a 3-2-1 drop or 3-2-1 hit on the site, but for whatever reason, they're not. Monty has to pull out his pistol and get a kill. Rampy's forced to drop. He's supposed to be the cover player from Vert, but he has to drop to do anything, and there's no time because Monty's sitting there for 20 hours, butt ass naked in the middle of site. And of course, he's going to get swarmed and killed with 3 seconds left as he's echo droned because this situation is just completely lost. It's like shooting fish in a barrel from BDS. But it doesn't stop here. SSG continue to play poor as the rounds continue. In round 10, things actually start off well for SSD. Fultz gets in 2K, and this is exactly what you want to be able to see from your Nook player. Not just getting 2 kills, but getting two. Oh no, he gets heat checked by Odds because he's just spinning around in cocktail. But that's okay. No one is probably gonna die here, and okay, and suddenly that massive advantage is completely erased. But regardless of that, Fultz's kills were actually even more impactful than just 2 kills because that allowed SSG to relatively quickly take control of Cocktail, meaning that Rampy can now play Vert onto reading, meaning that BDS is no longer going to be allowed to play in reading because Rampy could just shoot him from his verticals. Yeti and Halting Code can easily rotate out of the pillar, and they can simply walk in reading and plant. Theoretically, this should be a quite easy round for SSG, but for whatever reason, it isn't. And Rampy decides to take Diffuser himself, meaning that he can't cover a plant from Vert because he needs to be the person planning. Hot and Cold is nowhere to be found in some reason instead of going for a reading finish, which is what they've set up all of this for. SSG instead make the call that they need to, I don't know, go down White Stairs and just completely leave Rampy once again, leave their planner butt ass naked in the middle of sight. He gets easily farmed, and the rest of SSG is forced to just walk into BDS's bullets since they have absolutely no time. So, in their second game, SSG decided to go for a slight switch in tactics. Instead of trying to play a big, complex map like Cafe, they opted for the simpler, more condensed border and tried to isolate gunfights and go for simple, minimal executes on their attacking side so that they wouldn't get bogged down and confused by the complexities of a map like Cafe and its demands. But in their attempts to simplify the game, they ended up forcing a lot of gunfights, which seems like a good thing. But SSG is not a team with the composition to be able to force a bunch of gunfights against W7M and expect positive results for themselves because W7M is a team completely built on taking gunfights. And SSG needs to be built in playing their style of game that they were completely shaken from in the second game. And as a result, were completely dogged on by W7M since it's their play style, which SSG can just never beat them on. Okay, me from the future, basically just clarifying that the only reason that I'm being so critical on Space Station is because I think that they have potential to be a great team, and I've always loved watching them play. And since they've had Troy, they've always been my favorite team. So I was just a little disappointed and needed to get it off my chest, but I don't hate SSD. I love them, and that's why I feel like I have to be so harsh on them. And as for the rest of the video, it doesn't really regard Suture will teach you anything. It will waste your time. It's just about my channel. But if you give a shit, you feel free to keep watching. I'll see you on the next video. So that's pretty much why SSG will likely remain at the bottom of the group. And pretty much certainly we'll be seeing W7BDS emerge from this group just based on how things have been shaking out so far. Sorry I've taken so long between videos. If you don't care about my channel and just wanted the SSD rant, you can click off. But if you do care about my channel, it was because I lost a lot of motivation to make videos because I wanted to make good content rather than just saying my thoughts out loud that I would have just thought anyways and then posted them and then having fun reading other people's opinions on my thoughts and maybe even teaching some people something from my thoughts. Instead of that, my videos in my brain had to be good. So I made a video on Team Liquid but and I was editing it and I wanted to make it very high quality, high production, but never really got out the door because I thought it had issues systematically that needed to be fixed. So I started reshooting and re-editing, but that whole process was just none of the things I like to do. I just like thinking and I hate editing and worrying about my mic and all that kind of stuff and the script and I don't. So I just kind of gave up for a while. But I'm back, and at least for now, I'm just talking about whatever I feel like talking about relating to Siege. But I will hopefully be back talking about a more uplifting topic. I'll definitely be back later in the major to talk about whatever's going on, but hopefully it's not as unfortunately tragic as this video turned out to be, as more of a rant than a true educational. Hopefully, to get back on track with more educational content later.